As Austin tries to deal with its DWI crisis, there's a part of the Austin area that's just as dangerous, but it's not getting as much attention.
That's right. Booming outlying communities like Lakeway and Bee Cave are not on the radar when it comes to drunk driving. In fact, the police departments there are making more arrests, and business owners say it's a problem that can't be ignored. It's tonight's cover story. A few years ago, James Dinwoody traded in his full-time gig on 6th Street to open his own restaurant in Lakeway. But moving farther away from the bar scene hasn't taken him away from dangerous drunk drivers. In fact, he's given rides to complete strangers in hopes of getting them home safely. One incident was especially heartbreaking.
As they were trying to get in their vehicle, and I noticed in the back seat that there was 2 child seats. I ended up driving him home to Hudson Bend, and on my way back there was a bad accident in front of Sandy's Burger Hut. And it really made me think that that could have been this gentleman. It could have been somebody else with kids that he hit.
James says it's a risk more and more drivers in outlying cities like Lakeway and Bee Cave are willing to take, because getting a cab can be almost impossible or take too long.
An example is when I worked night shift patrol, I don't think I ever saw a cab in Bee Cave, maybe 2 times in 5 years.
And when officers intervene and call a cab, it means they're tied up on that call for longer than expected.
Morning. Wasting tax dollars waiting when we could be doing something else.
You have your driver's license?
In Lakeway, the issue has led to an increase in DWI arrests.
Now place your right foot in front of your left foot.
I've called for taxis for people at bars that haven't driven yet, but they don't need to be driving home. And sometimes it takes an hour or more for them to get out.
Officers have already made more DWI arrests so far this year.
Right now you're being placed under arrest for driving while intoxicated, okay?
Than they did for the entire year of 2013. Out of the 31 DWI convictions, 3 of those drivers had children in the car when they were pulled over. Also an increase from last year.
Part of the problem is that there isn't very many alternatives for people that come out here, drink to an excess, and then try to drive home or find a way to get home.
And as these communities continue to grow, James hopes safe ride options will soon follow suit.
I was contacted by a couple of people with Lyft offering their services, which I think is a great idea. I think there's a false sense of security that they're close to home, so it's not a big deal. I've made it 100 times before. I can make it now. And people wouldn't make that choice if it was readily available that they could, for a small fee, get a ride home.
A small fee that would be minimal compared to the $10,000 DWI or a priceless life lost to a drunk driver. Uber and Lyft are starting to get the word out in Lakeway and Bee Cave. Business owners hope they can get as much attention as the issue is getting in downtown Austin and start working on solutions immediately.